Okay, can someone? Whatever. I'll check. Give me one sec. Let's see. Okay, I guess it's streaming. Uh, Welcome everyone to the Toku Portal podcast. It's me, Zero, here with.
Dedicated.
Drago.
And dry. Uh. Okay. Okay. There we go. Audacity was being weird with me for a second there. Right now. But he's meeting, and we don't know what's going on with King. So today we're talking about Kamen Rider Build Episode 4. If you remember, at the end of the last episode, he was attacked by a mysterious Cobra Man who stabbed him in the back. Until wakes up in his bed in the lab, having been found by Soichi, who treated as poison. Sento had another dream about his experience at Faust, remembering with patterns similar locks. Isora finishes purifying another bottle, and the result comes out as a ninja, which is neither an animal nor a machine, but I guess it falls into the life form category. Sento then asks Mizora to dress up as Mitan, her web persona, and ask her audience for information about when Skywall first appeared 10 years ago. She doesn't want to because she's feeling lazy, but she reluctantly does it anyways. Hey, do you guys have anything to say about this opening?
Other than, nothing. Ninja is an organic thing. Otherwise, there's nothing else to say about that.
Yeah. As far as the whole back and forth between Sento and Ryuga over the phone, yeah, it was nice to get kind of more of a serious start to the episode, even though they did have the little funny bit at the end. So yeah, I liked it.
Zero? So at Faust, Dairogue has turned Nabeshima into a smash again, but this time he came out different. Dairogue is curious about what happens when someone who was administered the smash element once before is given it again. So this is neat. Like, we get to see a little bit of Dairogue experimenting with smash on people. Do you guys have anything to say?
Other than the fact that Nitro is terrifying, nothing much. Actually, this episode was just self-explanatory and nothing much happens other than in the first half at least.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate what I said last episode, it's nice that the villains are kind of, for now, mostly plotting behind the scenes and screwing with things rather than just showing up and fighting the rider. It is a nice change of pace.
Zero. Okay. Zero seems a little preoccupied, so I'm going to move on.
No, it's fine.
At the Institute, Sento shows a recorded video of the Skywall incident to Gentoku. Sento had edited out the light coming from Pandora's box to reveal that when the astronaut opened, 2 panels on the sides came off, but its shape didn't change. This means it has a dual structure, which I am not certain isn't a made-up physics term. In addition, the panels that came off were stolen in here. The person that opened the box, the astronaut, we still don't see his face, so we still don't know who it is. But at this point, if it was Sento, then Gentoku would recognize him. At least it seems that way. It could be that Gentoku does recognize him, but had nothing to say about it. Especially since Gentoku could be also working with Foss, we don't know. And then, yeah, a dual structure. So, is that a made-up physics term, or what?
Well, that dual structure actually isn't a physics thing, but like it's like a box inside a box. What they mean by dual structure, actually. So suppose like you put a box and that is covered by another layer of box. That is what Sento means by dual structure.
Okay, when they said its shape didn't change, I got the idea that like it retained the same like size as well.
Probably not.
Anything else on this?
Yeah, in terms of just the whole scene, I really like that we kind of. I mean, I didn't get this the first time, but watching it again, we kind of see Sento's naive side because right off the bat, he goes to Gentoku and shows him and starts asking him questions. He never suspects that Gentoku or the government could be connected to Faust in any way. He's just like, hey, here's this what I've been digging into. Can you give me some answers?
Especially since Gentoku keeps trying to brush him off. He's like, and his assistant is like, "How did you get that footage? You shouldn't have this. Stop asking questions.
Yeah. So I like
I
this because it
hired
just
you to investigate the box, but you're learning too much."
yeah, we kind of see Sento, even though he is experienced writer and he's good at being a hero, he still doesn't know much about human nature, I guess. And a nice little sliver of politics about them trying to get the Pandora's energy, that was nice as well.
Yeah, I wanted to add something else. Well, when they said, I think so, Gentoku also wanted the fact that Center knowing more make wouldn't matter Pandora's box anyways. So if he knows about the box, that's the reason why he had told him the information. And most likely Gentoku is working with Faust.
I honestly won't be surprised if Gentoku is working for them, or is possibly like Night Rogue or Bloodstark. You're not a whole lot to talk about this episode, so go ahead and pick it apart. Quite a few things in this show could use better direction. Okay, so Banjo, Ryuga, and Sawa make it to Saito, and the lady from the about Nabeshima's family. That is the most like I was expecting that rap set wasn't. Like that is better like direction. Yeah. Oh. Banjo and Sawa make it to say the lady from the boat knows where Nabeshima's family is first. Plot convenience, it's dumb. Uh, so disguised as delivery men and use the huge box they were carrying to hide Nabeshima's wife and young daughter to sneak them out. Out the door, they're attacked by guardians, but Banjo realizes that they're not government issue and must be from Faust. They escape by driving a van into the ocean and jump out onto the boat back to Toto. Yes.
This was amazing, actually. I really like the interaction between Sawa and Ryuga to the point where I ship them. And then there is also then there is
They do work great off each other.
the I actually felt that the convenient thing didn't bother me much because it serving maybe there was how address books and all are there in places, maybe that didn't bother me much. So them going to their house like disguised as a delivery people and kid and Ryuga. Then once they and then and then when wait, you know what, the van literally it broke through a concrete wall
That was the best.
unharmed.
I forgot about that
The
actually.
the windshield didn't. I know the lights and everything.
They wasted a perfectly good van there if it can break through a wall like that.
Yeah. Van, Sawa, best match, unbreakable van.
Nice.
And then and literally and then when they just jumped out of the van and that was pretty good. But that's the thing is that I don't know how they weren't even suffering from a bit of injury after having that large gap in the fall. That was a bit, but and then that was a bit convenient, I would say, or I don't know, a show about physics and they don't follow actual logic, which is kind of strange. But yeah, that was a really good scene.
Yeah, I really like the conversation with Nabeshima's family. It was, I guess, decent character building for Ryuga and Nabeshima because he's just been this asshole who drugged Ryuga, but then it turns out he has a family and he tried to get them away from Toto because he knew he was involved in some shady shit. So yeah, that was nice. And yeah, the high speed escape thing. It was pretty cheesy, but it felt like that's what they wanted it to be like. It wasn't trying to be all badass, and it just felt like it was supposed to be kind of silly. So I'll
Thinking
let it
about
slide.
it feels like something out of Casino Royale.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm fine with it.
Oh. But but action though. Four.
Oh, okay. About the memory loss thing, I have to argue with you there. Sento remembered Batman when his memory was lost. So we could see the same thing for Nabeshima. That was the last thing he remembers before turning into a smash. S- Yeah, that's what.
No, it's fine. Uh, like it's good to see like both the good and the bad in something, and really, I'm not that excited to talk about this episode. It had some good moments in there, which you said is just a lot of the characters just sitting down and talking to each other and actually acting. Uh, but ultimately, this episode seems to be focusing on that actiony stuff that's kind of like meh overall. So, like, yeah, like I said earlier, pick apart this episode because I have no feelings for it one way or the other, really. So
Okay,
at the
so I just realized I might have muted my mic on OBS. So I think it's like you guys are talking to silence. That sucks.
Ouch.
I'm not sure. Somebody check that. But
oh god, is there anyone listening to the
no,
stream right
they're
now?
not. They're not.
Oh
I think
god.
I'm the only one. Anyway, I'll just reiterate. Like, yeah, show's a little over the top. It's taking shortcuts where it's like it does good dramatic stuff where it's like, it's the character sitting and talking and where they can act. It's still a little rushed, but it's better than nothing. And then it cheapens it by like doing a way too over the top sequence, or like just because the plot has to move along, we take away the amnesia plot, like, or dampen its blow by like being like, oh no, but I'm gonna give you this one thing that's just gonna move the plot along. It's like the writing needs to be a little bit better, directing needs to be definitely better. Like the show is decent, it's not good, and like I don't like being negative, but it's like it feels a little lazy. That's the problem. Hopefully that got picked up. Anyway.
Hopefully, like, your mic wasn't muted that whole time, because you said some good stuff there. And if your mic was muted, there's going to be a point where I'm just laughing randomly for no reason. So, at the cafe, Soichi is heading out to his part-time job. We never see any customers in his cafe, so he must need one. Although we find out that that's probably just a cover-up. Seriously though, there are never any customers in this fucking cafe. At least other Rider series like Kuga and stuff showed people at the place. This one, there's no one. What's with that? Anyways, after he leaves, Sento tries asking him more about himself, but Soichi just dodges the questions and takes off. Mizora then tells Sento about a smash sighting, but the report that was sent in gives oddly specific details about it, and the sender's name is Bloodstark. Sento shows up to fight the smash and henshins into Build. During the fight, Bloodstark, the Cobra man who poisoned Sento last episode, shoots a strange gas into the smash, causing it to grow bigger, and comments to Build that there will be after effects even if he saves him. Build does defeat the smash, and I guess Banjo showed up to help out a little bit. Strange. How long was that boat ride around the skywall, which does stretch out into the ocean? We're never going to get an answer. When he collects the components, they're shocked to see it's Nabeshima again. The fight was pretty boring this episode. It didn't feel like anything we hadn't already seen, and which is weird to say for a Rider series where, you tend to see the Riders kind of do some of the same moves here, but for Build, it just hasn't really grabbed my interest.
Well, yeah, I would agree with them. The build fight has been very, very, very lackluster as compared to like other seasons. I like all the drama and the comedy in this show, but the fight is absolutely boring. It's like fights all over, fights just when they just string like 2 minutes of drama along, but this is a bit better than that. Sorry, string 2 minutes of fight along at the end, but this is a bit better than that
I mean,
because it's the fight is part of the
I
story.
prefer Faiza's fights
yeah,
to this.
that's what I was
Yeah,
gonna say. At
yeah.
least
Like
I
fight.
one of
At least Faiza's fighting system is interesting. So even if it's a boring fight, it just visually looks interesting.
that's part of
yeah
it. Yeah,
yeah the but build it I don't know. They should improve the fight choreography and how they fight, or maybe we should just wait for the CGI budget to run out. If they made the fights a bit more creative, then it would be much more interesting as far as possible. But yeah, I'm now just waiting for like at least for the fight to get good, because everything else about this show is good, I would say. uh I'm I I don't think that this episode was bad at all. As far as other stuff is concerned, the van stuff was a little bit cheesy, but I can give it a pass. I enjoyed that scene anyway. So otherwise, the fight scene is utterly boring. The only thing that interesting that happened in the fight scene was Ryuga shot the sword right at the back of the opponent. That was a bit interesting, unexpected, I would say, but that also came out of nowhere. So yeah, I'm very no, I'm not really liking the fights in Build.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, especially when you compare it to Q Ranger. Holy shit, have we been getting some good fights in that? So yeah, hopefully that CGI budget runs out so we can start getting some better fights. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say. In terms of Bloodstark, he seems interesting. It's been a while since we've had like an old man villain, I think. So yeah, that'll be cool.
Huh. Like I have no idea how old like the user Bloodstark is or whatever. So I mean, like if he's an older character, that would be interesting. The other thing is like, yeah, I agree. The fight choreography is fucking in the toilet. I kind of feel bad for people who started with this show because like I know like Chris Amadeus and stuff. Like he he's like a Sentai reviewer, and then he's just watching like this is his first writer show. So I'm like, oh man, I feel like bad for people like that because they're like X8 at least had fun fights. Like they were stupid and over the top, but at least they were fun to watch. And like the shows even before that, like as like even if the stories weren't good, like at least there was some fighting. Like usually on average, writer fights tended to be more interesting than Sentai. Like I mean like I'm not gonna say that like oh Q Ranger is sucking up all the like choreography because they can't do it, but I'm like that's not true because like Toei's been doing like writer and Sentai and movies and everything like for a couple of years going, so like like one they don't have budget for CGI and suits, that I can see. They don't have budget for like choreography, that's nonsense. Like especially in a writer show. I mean, I think it's mostly because of how much CGI there is and like how hard we're trying to set up like plot points. Like Ryuga had to show up there because he's basically the secondary to like to show oh Build can't do everything. Like even if he's super smart, like he tends to kind of get in over his head every once in a while. So like him showing up is kind of like foreshadowing for him to be like the secondary and stuff. That being said, like yeah, I hope like God, please by episode 10 or something, like increase your choreography because like the suits are so nice, man. They deserve to be in a better fight show. And the other thing is like Bloodstark. Like, okay, people are making the Kamen Rider Double comparisons. I'm like, all right, come on, people, like, calm down. Like, it's a little bit of double, it's a little bit of drive. It ain't that much, Like, eventually they're gonna cross the idea again. And then like Bloodstark shows up and it's literally from the sword and his like sword henching thing. I'm like, You fucking straight up copied Axel, didn't you? Like, did you even try? You just copied Axel, gave it Build's fucking aesthetics, and painted a blue cobra on his chest, and being like, a new character. Like, that's ridiculous.
At the lab, Nabeshima wakes up, this time with no memory. Even when his wife and kids are before him, he can't remember who they are. Banjo pleads to him to remember, and Sento tells the young daughter that because her father forgot the happy memories, she should make new ones with him. The woman from the boat says she'll find them a safe place to live. Before leaving, Nabeshima sees Sento's bottles in the pen on the wall and remembers that he saw bottles like them at Faust. This makes Ryuga ask the question, if Mizora is the only one who can purify bottles, then how can Faust have any? When Soichi gets home, he hears a loud bang. He heads downstairs to find Sento breaking up the wall with the panel attached to it. It's revealed to be one of the missing panels from Pandora's box. Last week I said that panel probably wasn't actually important. Boy, was I super wrong about that. Sento asks Soichi why he has it, and if he's a member of Faust. Episode end. We don't get an answer. Until the next episode preview. Go on, Drago.
Yeah. Well, you know what would be perfect for Bill right now? They should have an ending theme instead. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. At the end. That would be perfect with how cliffhangery it has been getting with the episodes. Maybe like that's what they want. Maybe that's the reason why the Nabeshima revealing the stuff was there, because they would always want to add a cliffhanger. So yeah.
I mean, like, I agree. Writers should put like an ending song. Like, it really works in Amazon's. Like, I think it would work in here because it'd just be like the Fies thing, where it's like, okay, the ending's going, just like piss off. Like, if you don't want to see spoilers, like, you can just turn off. Whereas this is like, okay, is the episode over? You don't know, and bam, like, spoilers. Right? Like, that's probably...
It gave you the next time on Build thing. It did that.
I know, but like...
Rider, I would actually prefer Rider to have an ending rather than opening. Seriously, ending works much better with Rider than opening. At least for the seasons, like, even for season like X, State, and Build. Yeah. So, also the fact that it was just revealing the information right at the preview was so infuriating.
Seriously, Japan doesn't care about spoilers, and that is the biggest evidence of it. They literally give you the exact answer.
Look, man, they so don't care about spoilers, they put it like, oh, after this commercial, this happens in the text. Before they go to commercial break. Like, did you forget that in like Gaim and Drive and all that? Like, had that? And I'm like, God, I have to stop reading the fucking translations. Like, when you have to say, I have to stop reading the subs because the damn show is spoiling it. It's like, what? Yeah, like, I get it, Japan. You don't do spoilers, but come on, man. Like, you're doing an episodic series. That was clearly supposed to be a hook. Like, why would you spoil? I mean... Okay, I can't blame the writer for that because the writer is doing okay, right? Like, episode end, it's done. They're not making the trailer for the next episode. But whoever is, like, come on. Like, get your game.
A while back, there was a movie called Edge of Tomorrow. In Japan, it was called All You Need Is Kill, which is a much better name. But
that's because
in
it was
Japan,
based on the manga. Actually...
Japanese light novel.
Yeah.
But my point is, in Japan, when they were advertising it, they were just straight up showing the ending.
I mean, like, it would have to... yeah, that's a good point. Then again, like, it'd probably be famous enough to be out there. Yeah, trailers tend to be kind of terrible nowadays. Like,
I don't watch movie trailers because they spoil shit like
that. My
that.
problem is I just watched Discovery and I'm like, God, damn, Discovery's trailers are fucking awful. And like then you watch the first two
Aw.
episodes and it's like, okay, it's not that bad. Like it's a little like the problem is the writer problem of like, okay, Kamen Rider Amazons didn't need to have Kamen Rider or Amazons in the name. It would have worked fine as its own thing. Like associating it might damage it. And that's sort of the problem with Star Trek Discovery. Is like Star Trek Discovery. Like if it was its own show, it would have been fine. But like putting
So it's not a good Star Trek series?
like the problem is it doesn't fit well in canon. And like yeah, see the problem is like, okay, have you seen Stargate Universe?
I haven't seen any Stargate.
Oh god, okay. So the thing is like Stargate Universe is they took Stargate and tried to turn it into Battlestar Galactica.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Okay, I haven't seen Stargate, but I can already tell that sentence is fucked.
Yeah, and like it got 3 seasons. For the first 2 seasons, they tried to really turn it into Battlestar Galactica style like writing because Battlestar Galactica was super popular and it just ended. But thing is, by the 3rd season, like they're like, no, this isn't working. We got to turn it back into like Stargate.
No shit, it's not working.
Yeah, and then it started becoming better because it's the same problem of like you have a brand, it's associated with a certain feel, and like then you go against it. So the thing is like distrusting the military to such an extent, like in Battlestar it works, in Stargate it doesn't, because like the military is like trying to save your ass, and they're the good guys, and like turning them into like the villains is the stupidest thing in Stargate. And like in season 3, they're like, this is dumb. We don't fucking have drama of this idiotic level of like where everybody distrusts each other. And so they stopped that and started making it like Stargate. And like Discovery has the same thing where it's like, okay, they took Star Trek and tried to turn it like Mass Effect-ish. Yeah, basically. And so the thing is like, it's not bad, but the thing is like, it doesn't quite feel like Star Trek.
It's not really about the exploration of the galaxy or
Well,
anything
I mean,
like that.
the thing is, the first 2 episodes kind of like, it's not bad, but the thing is you kind of have to know, okay, this person was raised on Vulcan, they're not going to act exactly human, so like it expects you to have certain knowledge of the franchise, and then itself it contradicts canon. Like it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Wait, what? What does
Like-
it contradict?
Like it
Welcome
it
to
looks,
Space Opera, the podcast.
yeah, pretty much. The thing is like I'm gonna tie it back around, but like it doesn't, like it feels too advanced, and like the tone is off, and they kind of comment on that. But the problem, like what I'm getting back to, is like when you see the trailers, you see how off the trailers of Discovery feel. Like this doesn't feel like a Star Trek show, as opposed to like if you see like Prelude to Axanar and like you hear that speech in Prelude to Axanar, I was like, okay, this is Star Trek. And that's the problem. Like you see like its trailer was terrible. You watch the 2 episodes, like, okay, this isn't bad, but like, it doesn't quite fit. Like they're being a little too lazy. And then afterwards they play a trailer for the rest of the season. I'm like, oh god, it looks fucking terrible. But it's the same problem, I think, is like most trailer houses is like, okay, one team does the production, and then a whole different team does the trailers. And whoever does the trailers always makes the fucking production look worse, because their job is just like throw what's exciting and shocking in like 30 seconds, right? But what that does is it just like condenses everything down and makes it look terrible. And like for Star Trek, if all you see is action, it makes it look like, like Stargate or something, and it doesn't feel right, or fucking Mass Effect. And so like that's the whole thing of like, whenever you cut a trailer in anything nowadays, it just seems terrible because they don't preserve the essence. So like I don't think Discovery is gonna be as bad as that fucking trailer that showed up before in the trailer for the rest of the season. Like I don't think Build is gonna be bad, but like whoever does trailers now, like what the fuck are they doing? Like, no respect for the property, no respect for, like, preserving the narrative and all that. And it's just so dumb. And I know we got off on such a huge and random ass tangent, but, like, there wasn't much to talk about this episode.
Uh, is everyone okay with moving on to final thoughts now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go first. This episode was pretty much just exposition. The best moments were all the interactions with Nabeshima's family, because that's where all the real acting came in and all the emotion came from. I mean, on one hand, I'm glad that the plot is moving forward, but on the other hand, it doesn't feel like it's unfolding organically. It's feeling very forced. I think it has a good payoff.
Yeah, I kind of have the same problem. I would actually rather see them develop as characters, not like shoved into development, but just slowly over time instead of, you know, just just developing for development's sake and then acting for acting's sake. That's what it feels like it. So I think it's not. I think it's gonna get better like as the episodes go along, because first few episodes of Rider was always not that great and it's always rocky. But this was the best episode among all of the ones we have seen. I just hope that it gets better and better, because yeah, I'm ready to give this like about 12 to 13 episodes. I'll be watching after that anyways, but 12 to 13 episode, I'll be giving it a chance to whether this show will be good or not. If it is not good by episode 12, then yeah. Or but next episode form looks cool. I really like it.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing that next best match. But yeah, the pacing definitely has been an issue. I mean, it feels like the villains are getting better pacing than the heroes and their plot, and we're already getting like a huge freaking plot twist on episode 4, which is not bad, but it's not great either, especially with the way they rolled it out. So yeah, I mean, I still love the characters. I love the comedy. But yeah, hopefully, I think this next form, I'm placing my bets that it'll have a decent fight to go with it. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, the new form looks pretty nice. Like, it looks like it's debuting, by the docks and stuff, so at least it has room to fight. Um, I think the biggest problem is, like, we're doing the thing where, like, we're establishing Ryuga's story, and, like, we're probably holding off on Sento's stuff because, like, when we really get into it, that's gonna be, what actually drives the plot, or maybe. Um, it will, so maybe that's why we're holding off on him. But like ease off on the CGI for a second and actually fight it out like a writer show, and it should be good. I think that's the only thing missing is like the Kamen Rider fight elements, because it's like it almost seems like you're watching a okay, it's the Fi's problem, except at least Fi's was smart enough to put it at the beginning and the end of the episode, so it's like whatever, man. Like, it's just fight padding. Whereas Build kind of just puts it in the middle, and it's like it just sucks the energy out of the episode. But I do see it getting better as soon as we have as soon as we get like the secondary writer done, because like they can't do the CGI for both writers. That would be just too expensive. They'll probably finally settle down and go hand to hand then. And the way it's going, I don't think it's going to take that long for Claws to show up. So, like, probably episode 10-ish at max. So it should improve. As for, like, a couple things, like, Yeah, I didn't actually expect it to be the owner. I was like, alright, it might be the owner, but like, okay, weirdly enough, that random theory came sort of true. Like, the way the preview makes it seem is like either he's one member of Faust or he is the guy who built the organization. And if that's the case, and he's the guy who's like, building the resistance to it, it kind of reminds me of Cyborg 009 with Professor Gilmore, who created like, well, he didn't create all the Cyborg 00 numbers, but he created most of them. Like I think 1 and 2, yeah, I think 1 and 2 weren't made by him. The rest of them were. I think. Yeah, I think because 3 is the first one he operated on. So like that's an interesting like
Yeah, that's
parallel.
correct.
Okay. Yeah, this show's doing interesting stuff where it's mixing like early Heisei and Showa throwbacks and Cyborg 009. So like I kind of like that because it's doing a much better mix of it than like all the crap we've been getting in like Superhero Tyson, but like I can't really blame that guy because like he made Kabuto and he did his best, and then Superhero Tyson's a whole different mess. But like the last Superhero Tyson was kind of fun, so at least it wasn't terrible. But as for Build, like, yeah, I think it's gonna improve, and yeah, I'll continue watching it. Like I'm not gonna dump this show for all the stuff I've said. Anyway, Drago, go ahead. I'm done.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say that I hope they don't make Nitro and Bloodstark into either good guys or give them the title of Kamen Riders. I'm so annoyed and pissed by literally every single one of them, every single with a costume getting a title of Kamen Rider.
I know, right? It's
Yeah.
so annoying.
I actually hope that this series tones down on the riders.
You're just
Yeah,
mad
just
because Graphite didn't become a Kamen Rider.
okay. That is
That's
fine.
true. That's true.
That's why Graphite is one of my favorite characters of X8.
Now, Zero, I think you touched on exactly why the fights in this series are bad. Because Build isn't fighting them, it's just special effects. Like, think back to Blade, where they're like literally getting in each other's faces in combat, and then they save the special effects stuff for the finishers. But here, he opens up with all of it, and that's all he does.
On the audio. Okay, yeah. It's interesting that like the thing is he's like a genius character. Let him fight it out. And like even in Double, like they come up with like clever solutions like on the fly. It's interesting to watch that. Like here it's just like whatever, man. Like I don't even know why I built this belt. I should have just made a fucking gun that shot like energy blast or something. That's what it feels like. You know? Like it's not even the Ultraman problem of like Ultraman shows up and like beats the thing, because at least you get a half decent fight most of the time out of that. Here it's just like Attack of the CGI. Like for a character with so much intelligence and for such a fun suit, I think the biggest problem is the damn like it takes so long to do anything with that belt. Like it's kind of hard to make it dynamic. Like if okay, I don't think it's mandatory to shake it, so he should just put it in like fucking Gaia memories, or actually even faster than Gaia memories. And then like the crank, I hate the crank. It should have either been like a lever like Forza, or it should have been like a press down button thing like Wizard's Driver, because it's like the same.
Or you could just
Yeah, go ahead.
okay, here you could just like use the crank much better. Like just pull it once and you're done.
Yeah, or do the Kabuto thing of like crank it and keep fighting, because Kabuto, it's kind of a clunky belt because you have to press like 3 buttons to do anything. Oh, plus the like plus the Zector like horns and stuff. But like the way in Kabuto they do is they like keep setting up their attacks, but they're like defending blows here and there. So like, I mean, they've definitely sped it up since the first episode, but it's still clunky. And I think the worst part is because they're trying to make him look smart. Of he's doing the like he's shaking the bottles and he's thinking. I'm like, show him thinking on the fly. Like, you don't have to have him thinking outside the suit and then like henshin, and then fight the thing. Like, he can think on the fly. Like, it could be interesting.
Well, I think that about wraps up this podcast. Thank you for joining us tonight, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
See you, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Sorry for the technical difficulties and stuff, but hopefully it wasn't too bad. See you next time.